Love X Revenge. This channel tells stories where love is tested to its limits and revenge becomes the path to justice, where pain turns into strength and ordinary people do extraordinary things when pushed too far. When Sergei stepped off the military transport bus, the world felt unreal. 2 years at the front had changed everything. The sounds, the smells, even the way he breathed. He carried a small duffel bag, worn boots, and one burning thought that had kept him alive through nights of shelling and days of hunger: his daughter, Anya. She was 12 when he left. Now she was 14. He imagined her running toward him, older, taller, but with the same bright eyes. He didn't know yet that the city he returned to was no longer the one he had left behind. Sergei went first to the apartment building where they used to live. The windows were dark. The door was sealed with a rusty lock. A neighbor, an old woman with tired eyes, recognized him after a long stare. She crossed herself and whispered, "You don't know." His heart dropped before she said another word. His wife had died a year earlier, illness, no money for treatment. After that, Anya disappeared. Social services came once, wrote something down, and never returned. Some said the girl ran away. Others said she was taken. No one knew, or no one wanted to know. Sergei didn't rest. He walked the streets day and night, showing Anya's old photo to shopkeepers, guards, drunks, anyone who would look. Most shook their heads. Some avoided his eyes. On the third night, a boy near the railway station muttered something about kids living near the landfill, scavenging for metal and food. Sergei felt a cold fear crawl up his spine. The city dump was a place people pretended didn't exist. The landfill lay beyond the industrial zone, a mountain of rotten smoke. Even before he saw it, he smelled it. Sergei walked through drifting ash and buzzing flies, calling Anya's name until his voice broke. Shapes moved between piles of trash, children, thin as shadows, faces black with dirt. They froze when they saw him, ready to run. Then he saw her. She was crouched near a torn mattress, trying to light a small fire with wet cardboard. Her hair was cut short and uneven. Her jacket hung on her like it belonged to someone else. For a second, Sergei couldn't move. The image didn't fit the girl in his memories. When he whispered her name, she looked up, eyes wide, wild, unrecognizing. Then something shifted. Her lip trembled. "Papa," she said, barely a sound. He crossed the distance in 3 steps and fell to his knees, pulling her into his arms. She was light, too light. She smelled of smoke and garbage. She shook, then began to cry the way children do when they've been strong for too long. Around them, the other kids watched in silence. Some with envy, some with disbelief. Sergei carried Anya away from the landfill, ignoring the pain in his legs, ignoring everything except the fragile weight in his arms. At a small clinic, the doctor shook his head in anger. Malnutrition, infections, bruises that were not from falling. Sergei felt something dark and heavy settle in his chest. When Anya slept, he sat beside her and listened to her broken story in fragments over the next days. After her mother died, a distant uncle took Anya in. He drank. He took her small pension money. When she protested, he beat her. One night, he threw her out. She slept in stairwells, then followed other homeless kids to the landfill, where no one chased them away. People came there sometimes, men who offered food for favors. Anya learned to hide. Not everyone did. Sergei's hands shook as he listened. The war had taught him how to kill. It had not taught him how to breathe through this kind of pain. But he made a promise to Anya. That night, quiet and absolute. No one who did this would walk away untouched. He cleaned himself up, put on his old uniform jacket, medals still attached. He went first to social services. He showed documents, photos, medical reports. Doors that had been closed suddenly opened. Papers moved faster. Apologies were made. He didn't accept them. He wanted names. He got them. The uncle lived in the same city, in a small apartment paid for with Anya's money. Sergei went there in daylight. He didn't knock. When the man saw him, drunk and confused, Sergei didn't hit him. That surprised them both. Instead, Sergei dragged him outside, into the courtyard where neighbors watched from behind curtains. He spoke loudly, clearly, telling everyone what the man had done, naming dates, showing photos of Anya's injuries. Shame spread faster than fear. Someone called the police. This time, they came. But Sergei wasn't finished. He returned to the landfill, not in uniform now, but with food, blankets, medicine. He talked to the children. He listened. He wrote down names, places, descriptions. Some were too afraid to speak. Some were angry enough to talk for hours. Sergei contacted journalists, veterans groups, anyone who would listen to a soldier who had just come back and found his child in hell. The story exploded. Cameras came. Officials rushed to act. Raids followed. Men who thought no one saw them were suddenly dragged into the light. Shelters received funding overnight. Investigations opened that had been impossible for years. People were shocked, not only by what Sergei had done, but by how simple it seemed once someone finally cared enough to fight. Anya slowly healed. She learned to sleep without waking up screaming. She went back to school, older than most in her class, quiet but determined. Sometimes she asked her father why he didn't hurt the people who hurt her. Sergei would look at her for a long time before answering. Because I wanted them to live with what they did, he said. And I wanted you to see that strength is not only in fists. On the anniversary of his return, Sergei stood again near the old bus stop, this time holding Anya's hand. People recognized him now. Some nodded with respect. Some looked away, remembering their own silence. The landfill was still there, but smaller, fenced off, watched. Not gone. Never fully gone. But changed. What Sergei did left everyone in shock, not because he chose violence, but because he chose something harder. He forced a city to look at what it had thrown away. He turned his revenge into protection, his rage into action, and his love into a weapon no one could ignore.